Hey, it's Allison Denise, builder of beautiful brands and a beautiful you. Today we have a quick little tutorial on using WordSwag to make social media posts and graphics for your business. I am demonstrating on the iOS app, so let's go. Okay, so to get started, we are going to find the WordSwag app on our phone and click it to open it. And so this is the home screen, and you will notice you have a couple options at the bottom. The first one is a camera, which means you can snap a photo of yourself or whatever it is you want to use as your backdrop for your image. Or you can go into the selection of photos available to you. So we're going into the selection of photos by clicking the button at the bottom that looks like some Polaroids photos. So on this screen, it shows us our options. So WordSwag has these backgrounds already pre-made and available for use, which you can scroll up and down and see which ones speak to you. Okay. Or you can do, they even have the transparent background, which you see is the very first option, then you have black and white. You can search Pixabay for options or photos rather. So let's say you want to have some trees in the background, you type in trees, you hit enter, and Pixabay WordSwag will load some tree photos that they found by searching Pixabay. Um, I will note here that these are not all of the tree images on Pixabay. They only show you some of them. So if you don't find what you're looking for, you can always come out of the app, go get what you need, and come back. I don't want trees, so I'm going to actually go to my camera roll. And so I'm going to do that by hitting camera roll here at the top. And I'm going to pull out this template that I made for this other organization that I am leading called the Boss Experience, the Boss Young Adults Movement. And this is one of the images that I'll be using to post quotes and scriptures and inspiration, what have you. So the first thing I want to point out here is that at the bottom, you'll scroll across to the left and right. You can see there's different sizes that you can use for these images. If you specifically are creating something for a Facebook post, you would click on Facebook post. There's Facebook cover, Twitter, Pinterest, LinkedIn. I typically stick with the square. The square one seems to work across the board. You can also skip this. Like, let's say sometimes if you have an image that doesn't fit in a square and it's kind of long, you don't have to crop it. Like, you can use it the way it is, okay? I typically will crop into a square though. So once I select the size that I want, which is square, I'm going to hit crop at the bottom. All right, so the first thing that happens is we come into our workspace, all right? And there's some text on the screen that we need to change. So I'm just going to do what it says here and double tap to change the text, all right? I'm gonna double tap and erase everything here. And I'm just going to say, thank you, God, for this day, all right? That's gonna be my text. Something I want to point out here is at the bottom where it says who. If this was a quote, you could put in the name of the person who said this quote, and it would kind of like put it at the bottom to indicate that this is a quote from someone else. The other thing I'm going to point out here is the auto line breaks are off, which means when I show you on the next screen how you can edit this text and format it, sometimes the text will be placed into more than one line. Even though right here it's typed and it's all on one line, WordSwag will change it to be a multi-line text, okay? You can turn this on, okay? So that the lines will be multi-line text. If it's off, it's going to stay in this one line of text way that it's typed right here. So that can be handy if you specifically want your text to show up in 3 lines, for instance, and you type it in here in 3 lines exactly the way you want to show up. Then when you are editing the text, it's going to stay the way you set it. But if you have auto line breaks on, then it's going to put line breaks wherever it sees fit to put line breaks. Okay, so I'm going to leave auto line breaks on, and I'm going to hit save and close so we can edit. So here is what our text looks like on the screen. All right, so this particular font is nice, but I don't want to use this font, nor do I want this color because this does not match my brand colors, which you can see here are purple, green, and white. So the first thing I'm going to do is change the color of my text. And I'm going to do that by clicking the color button right here in the center. And as you can see, we get all these different options for colors, right? All these nice options. Oh, here's a purple. That's not the purple I want because it doesn't match the purple I already have. Let's see if there's any more. Here's another one. That's a little closer, but still not quite as deep as the purple that I'm using, okay? So I'm going to go back to the beginning of this and choose the color picker, which is this first one that has a little dropper in it. And we can do a couple things here. First, we can click on the hashtag and put in our actual hex code. And as a graphic designer, I always encourage clients to know what your hex codes are. There are color codes. They start with a hashtag. They're about 6 digits long, and they keep your brand consistent. When you know your hex code, you're not going to end up with 50 shades of purple. Okay, when you're branding, you will have the exact same purple no matter what image you produce. All right, so in this case, let's say we don't have our hex code and hit cancel. We can literally put our finger on the rainbow of colors here and select and just move our finger around until we get the color that we're looking for. So that's a little too dark, and that's a little too blue. And that's just a little bit too light here. So let's see. Just keep playing with it. That's good enough. That's good enough for demonstration purposes, okay? So we're gonna go with that. And I'm gonna hit the check mark to say that I'm done picking my color. All right, so the next thing that we can do is change the font. But before I leave the screen, let me just point out, if we hit invert, it makes the background the color of the text that you selected and then makes the text white or something that will stand out on the background. That's if you hit invert. But I don't want to do that. I want my background. You can also increase the transparency of your text. Okay. So those are some things you can do. Now, let's go to our font by clicking the style with the little A right here in the front. And so as you can see, there's a lot of different font styles to choose from. Some are a little more decorative than others, and some are really plain. For purposes of what we're doing, I'm just going to choose Wet Paint. It's one of my favorite fonts in WordSwag. And just looking at this, I don't like this, right? It's just a little bit too plain. The thank is too big. So what I'm gonna do is roll the dice here at the bottom right corner. I'm going to roll the dice and see what other format they can put this text in for me. Okay, that's good. I actually like when it has the little confetti dots in the background. So I'm gonna keep searching until I find text that looks like something that I actually want it to look like. So far, this is okay. I think I'm going to go with this just for demonstration purposes, okay? So if we're using this one, we can make it bigger by using 2 fingers on our phone screen. We can shrink it really small. We can turn it, okay? It's really flexible here, what you can do with this app, all right? I like it about that size right there because when it's on Instagram and people are scrolling through their phones, I want it to be easily read, okay? So this is how you update text. Now, one more thing that I want to show you before I move on from this is the image. Click on the image button, all right? And you can adjust your background image that you put in here. You can make it darker. You can make it lighter. You can make it black and white. Okay? That's your background image, not your text. You can give it a green tint. All these different things. Blue tint, whatever kind of tint you want it to have. All right? You can adjust the brightness. And you can even blur the background so that your text stands out, right? Just different levels of blurring. So that's that. So this is our image, right? So now when I'm done with it, I'm satisfied, I'm going to click save at the top, right? And what it's doing is saving it to my camera roll, and just like that, it's done. Successfully saved to camera roll, close. So now it's giving us the option to share. We can share directly from the WordSwag app to Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, and all these things, or we can just go into our camera roll, where it is now saved, and share it to those platforms as well. I typically don't share straight from the app. I go into my camera roll and share from there. But before we do that, there's one more thing I love to do with WordSwag that I don't know if anybody else does this, but sometimes you want to add another piece of text to an image, like your Instagram handle or something, so like your name. So I'm going to do that real quick to show you how you can do that in WordSwag, because let me just, first let me show you this. If you don't like the one that you have and you want to go back and change it, like you accidentally hit save, you can hit the back button and you can go back in here and your text is still editable, okay? That's one thing. But when you save again, it's going to save it to your camera roll another time. All right. So the other thing is, once you're done and you hit, like, if I want to come down here and show you, hit add logo. Okay. Not watermark, add logo. And it's going to say, do you want to add an image as your logo, or do you want to add text? Now, I like to add text, right? So let's hit text. And it's going to take us back into our image. But this time, it's made a copy of the text that we had. And the text that was there before is not editable anymore. It's not going to move or do anything no matter what we do to it. So what we're going to do is double click on the text that is editable, which is the copy. And I'm just going to erase everything that I have here. And I'm going to put in the Instagram handle for this image, which is all right. Now, once I'm done, now I'm going to save. Now, what this is saying right here is the @ symbol, exclamation points, quotation marks, things like that. Some of the text or font options do not display your characters like this, your special characters, which is fine. Unless you just specifically want the character shown, like in this case we do. If the font that I choose does not show the @ sign, then I'm going to need to choose a different font. So what I'm going to do here is say, okay, that's fine that, you know, all special characters won't be shown. I'm going to continue anyway because I want my special character. Okay, so now I have what I need, but it's way too big because not everything's all jumbled up and you can't read it, right? Matter of fact, I don't even want it to be this font. I'm going to change it to something really simple that looks clean, something like honest, okay? Very clean. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink it by squeezing it with 2 fingers, just like that. Now it's really small. And let's say we're doing this for copyright purposes. We don't want anyone to steal this because we want it to get recognized that we are the ones who created it. I'm just going to put this right here like that. And then I'm going to hit save. Now, if I wanted to change the color on this, I could. You know, I can do everything that I could do when I first did the text, thank you God for this day. I can do the exact same thing to this one. But I like this the way it is. So I'm going to leave it like that. And I'm going to hit save. And now we have this saved into our camera roll. And you can do that as many times as you need to for your image. All right. And so now I'm going to show you the end result in my photos. So we have this one, which is the first time we saved. This is the second time we saved. Here is where we added in the @ the Instagram handle. And this is our end result, okay? So I could always go in and share this. I go into my Facebook app, my Instagram app, my Twitter, and I can share this document, this image now because it's in my camera roll. And that is it. And so I hope that this has been helpful. That is the WordSwag demonstration. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out to me. I'm AllisonDenise.com, Allison at I'mAllisonDenise.com. Message me on Facebook or Instagram or Twitter, and I'll be sure to answer any questions you may have. Ciao for now.